All right. To all of our listeners on the show, good morning. Today we're really excited. We have Ray Culver on the show over at Scout. And we're actually coming to you from SourceCon Atlanta live this morning, which may explain some of the background noise. Hopefully we're able to edit a little bit out of that, but we're really excited to have him on the show. So,
Hey,
Ray,
good morning.
thank you so much for joining us at 9:30 in the morning from Atlanta.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me this morning.
So you must have not gone like too hard at the bar last night if you're meeting me at 9:30.
Not at all. I do enough of these things that I know when to call it a night.
I think you have to. I've been to SourceCon. It's like a marathon. It's not exactly a sprint.
It is, and everybody is so geared up and so engaged here that it was a festive night last night.
It is. Well, cool. All right. So when did you get in?
I flew in yesterday.
You flew in yesterday. And you're from Southern California, you said?
I am Southern California.
All right. Well, that's not too shabby.
Not a bad place to be.
Okay. So, well, let me ask you, Ray. So how long have you been in recruiting?
I have been in recruiting this is my 25th year.
25th year in recruiting. What brought you into the industry?
My mother, she actually was with a global staffing provider.
Yeah.
And I would come home and work for her during the summers. And so when I graduated from college, I went to work for that same global staffing provider.
Well, that's not too bad. So you knew the ropes and then you were able to just make the transition.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, well, what brings you to SourceCon this year?
This is our first year doing it. Scout, my employer, we're sponsoring. So we have a booth set up to meet some of these really cool folks. Hoping to just learn more about what's happening within the sourcing space. Obviously, given what Scout does, I think it's a good fit here. We've had some good conversations this morning. And also, my CRO is speaking tomorrow, so that should be a good session to go to.
Very cool. So
yeah.
CRO is speaking. Those are the good spots to get. The speaking.
I know, right?
We've got
Absolutely.
The podcast one, but the speaking roles are really sweet.
I'm excited about the podcast one. He can have that one. I'll keep this one.
That's right. That's what the podcast lives forever. The
Absolutely.
It's only once. Yeah. So cool. So well, then let me ask you a recruiting question. So what brought you to Scout? What about Scout specifically was enticing you to work for?
It was exciting to get to take my 20 plus years experience in recruiting and kind of step just a little bit to the side. So at Scout, we are a technology platform. So we do no recruiting. We are not an employer of record. So again, to be able to take what I've learned over the 20 plus years and apply it in a little bit different way was so exciting to me. So that's what got me to Scout.
Interesting, because also when we were talking a little bit before the show, one of the things you mentioned was one of the things obviously you're interested in how recruiting, and you've been in recruiting for 25 years. So how it's changed from traditional recruiting methods and for example, being at conferences, going to colleges, having open office hours, that kind of a thing, to now using tech and leveraging tech for changing the recruiting process. So I'd love to hear from your personal experience, what you've seen change, what's been impacted, what's fallen flat, and then what Scout's doing that.
Yeah, one of the, I think, things that I've seen change the most is 20 plus years ago, you had to have a brick and mortar in a city to be able to do business. So if you wanted to do business in Atlanta, you really had to have a brick and mortar somewhere within the areas where you do business. These days, we have companies on the Scout platform that, they're based in India, they're based in the UK, but they're doing business here in the US because they can leverage all the technology, they can leverage the integrations. They don't have to be in the market to be doing the sourcing and recruiting. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I've seen change and really enjoyed was to say, okay, the days of having to have brick and mortar offices, having to have teams in a specific city, that's not necessarily the way you do business these days. But that's been exciting. I've enjoyed to watch that change. Also to see that the buyer, the end client, has become so much more educated on the process of acquiring talent, whether it's direct hire, whether it's contingent, tip sourcing, whatever model you use. That buyer has learned so much over the last 20 plus years. It's exciting to sit down and have a conversation with some of these buyers because it's almost like you're learning from them. And it's a joint learning opportunity. So it's not really necessarily a sales call. It's, hey, tell me what you've done, tell me what's worked, tell me what hasn't, and let me do the same and see if we can help each other out. So that's been exciting to see the evolution of that buyer.
That is really cool. So interesting because we're also at Wade and Wendy. We work in the AI space as well. And we were kind of talking about that too. So let me ask you, like one of the things that we're always talking about over here is where's the like perfect intersection between the machines working together. So I'm curious to hear like on your take and at Scout, like where do you guys see that? Like what's a perfect interaction?
At Scout, we, excuse me, we are based on our backbone is AI and machine learning.
Mm-hmm.
So the AI portion is really on the job description and bringing the positions in and figuring out which recruiters within a marketplace
Mm-hmm.
is best to send them to. And that's where the machine learning component comes in, is as that recruiter is successful on certain recs, they're going to begin to get rated and ranked. So the machine is going to start learning who is the specialist, who's the best recruiter for me to send this rec to, and it's automatically going to start routing those incoming recs to those recruiters. We found that cuts down on time to first submit. So I think, in my opinion, the question that you asked as far as the intersection, I think being able to take the machine learning and couple it with a live human in recruiting is very important. You see so many articles where they talk about will AI or will machine learning replace, recruiters and things like that. I don't think it ever will. You have to have that human touch, but it's exciting to see the two start working together to make hiring easier and quicker for the client.
Interesting. So I got another one. So and this is a cool this is a cool episode that I'm realizing as we're going on because we're in similar fields. So there's a
Absolutely.
there's a lot of parallel going on here. And so just from my experience, when I talk to people, I'll say, hey, we offer an AI recruiter. And to a lot of people that just kind of stuns,
That blows their mind.
What the hell? What does that mean? And some people think it's something automated, something it's like a chatbot, like Smarter Child from like the old days of AOL.
Yep.
So how do you guys go about addressing that and making it like digestible and potentially not threatening? As there's a lot of bias against that.
I think where we come from and how we really bake it into our client conversations is the AI is only helping to enhance the process. So the AI is only helping you to get a first submit or fill quicker because it's routing and it's helping to get that rec to the appropriate recruiter very quickly. I go back to within the recruiting industry, there's always going to be a space for the human element. And if you can take that and couple it and marry it with AI, machine learning, all those types of things, it's only going to help the end client. So the end client is excited about it. The recruiter, on the other hand, to your point, sometimes they get a bit edgy just because they're like, okay, well, is this going to replace my job? And that's where you're like, no, it's going to help you get recs quicker, and it's going to help you get better recs that you actually have a bench built for, where you can submit quicker, and you're going to be successful quicker. So that's how we would, I hate to say sell it, but how we would tell a recruiter, what's the benefit for me? That would be part of the benefits.
Well, it's very cool. Do you guys use your tech in your own recruiting efforts?
We do, yeah.
You do.
We do. Our internal TA team actually will post things to Scout. If we're going to go out to search, they'll post it to Scout. And we have, I can probably think of 2 to 3 candidates right now who either came from Scout Marketplace, so from search, they came from one of our recruiters, or if they're on a temporary type assignment with us, they actually came from one of our temp sourcing. So yeah, absolutely. We practice what we preach. Yeah.
That's fair. Well, now let me ask you a curveball question there. So have you ever had a bad experience using AI? You didn't expect that one, did you?
No, I didn't. Me personally, no. And I think AI is still evolving. I think it's one of those where I don't know if I would call it a bad experience or if I would call it a learning experience, in my opinion. I can see where there will be mistakes made because AI is only so smart, or it's only, it's going to make mistakes, I think. But that's where, again, you just have to chalk that up to, hey, everything's evolving, this is growing, it's a learning experience, and how do we either take it and tweak the process, or how do we kind of turn ourselves to overcome that for what AI possibly can't do. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess again, having been in recruiting for 25 years, you probably I trust your opinion at least a little bit.
But I mean, as far as AI, if you think about it, coming from large global staffing firms, we really didn't use AI in the recruiting process. They do now, but back in the day, that was not even something that it was not even a word that we didn't know what that was. It wasn't being used. So that's why I say, to me, it's still evolving and it's still growing. It's still getting smarter and smarter and smarter.
Mhm.
So, if there are times when something does happen and it's not perfect, I mean, that's to me, that's part of growth. It's growing pain. So you figure out, hey, how do we overcome it? How do we tweak it? How do we bend for that? Yeah, so that would be my take on it.
Well, then I'm going to ask you one follow up on that one. So there are other people who believe in AI, but they say it's just not quite there yet.
Yeah.
And I get that, like we do the growing and the learning, but that's also part of it. That's what makes it, easy to utilize. Like it makes it unique to each client that it actually
Totally.
works with tendencies. Like, almost like when we look at Wendy, who's our AI recruiter. Like when a company will employ her, like we just hired a recruiter. It'll take maybe a month to like teach them how the flow of the company works.
Totally.
And it's rocking and rolling, like, literally from a data. But so, and it sounds like you people like yourselves and I are like on the forefront of pushing AI and all that stuff. But do you think it's there yet, or do you think people like you and I are still pushing it to be there?
I think that in many use cases, it's there. I think within recruiting and within just kind of the staffing space, whether it's direct hire, whether it's contingent, whatever it is, I think it's still getting there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the industry is still trying to figure out, back to what we talked about earlier, how does AI work with the human element? How far can AI go? Where does the human element need to pick that up? So I think there's still a lot of learning to be done. I think what we've done thus far by taking AI and incorporating it into recruiting and search and all that is amazing. We've come so far, but there's still a lot to be done. Would you agree with that? Given your space?
I think so. I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I'm from a SaaS background. Like I dig that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the truth is, like, I understand why people are worried, and a part of that is because it really does work. And that's a thing that I've seen. Like I came into recruiting kind of new to the recruiting space when I first joined this company. And that was one thing where like it just kind of seemed like a no-brainer that the companies who aren't taking to this, they're saying, well, why aren't you taking to AI? It's like, well, because we know this works. It's almost like the devil you know versus the devil you don't. But the companies who have adapted it, you're seeing them save like a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of even headcount. And as a result, and when I'm saying headcount, I'm not meaning chopping headcount.
Right,
I'm meaning that the recruiters that they have, I don't know one recruiter on the planet who isn't overwhelmed.
Right.
Like I haven't I'm in sales. I talk to people in different recruiting organizations every day. I haven't met one person. Oh, how many recs do you have? Oh, 150.
Right.
Okay, and how many people in your department? Well, it's just me. Like, how are you doing that? Like, there's no way that you're like sending these emails, not forgetting people, having nice, chipper conversations. There's no way. But someone like that knows that they know the right people. They know their company well. They should be making the decisions on those things, not pulling their hair out between tasks.
Right.
So that's where I've seen it come into place. It's really from a logistical place. Like I say this to a lot of people I talk to, like, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, from what I understand, like, and it's almost like sales. You used to be able to just be a good conversation holder, to be a good recruiter or salesperson. Now you have to be a logistics manager, scheduling task manager, even knowing different tools and technologies where like, if you don't know certain techs, you can't keep up.
Right.
And I think that that's just kind of the motion of the ocean. So in a space where recruiting is just getting more and more competitive every single day, and it's more and more of a candidate's market, as tech is emerging, you can't forget people anymore. You can't let things slip through the cracks. And I think that's a big reason why the companies that are employing AI are really seeing a packed punch. And companies that aren't are still just spinning their wheels.
Yeah.
I'm obviously a little bit biased here, but it's
no, and I agree. I mean, it's just a matter of how do you take AI and infuse it into your company, and like what parts can it help to enhance, And to me, that's kind of part of the, I guess, the education or the discovery process is where can AI help you in your current day? Just to your point, if you have one recruiter who has 150 recs, exactly what you said, there's I don't say there's no way, but it becomes very difficult. Your plate becomes too full. You can't keep up with knowing all these folks and all that. So where could potentially AI help in that situation to alleviate some of that stress? And at the end of the day, get you a better result because the recruiter is going to be not as stressed. Potentially, you're going to get a better type of candidate. You're going to put your network out there even further. So again, where can it help to enhance? Where can it help to fill gaps that maybe you don't even know exist? So it could be a good discovery process to see where you use it.
I mean, there's a reason people use outreach and sales loft to send emails. Because it's just ridiculous to send that many emails in a given. You're not going to be able to. You're going to other activities of your day are going to suffer. And now that we have a replacement for certain activities, that certain things are always going to be human. Again, from what I've seen, other things people aren't good at. They don't need to be doing that anymore. Scheduling. Why are people manually scheduling a coordinator? I just kind of don't understand that anymore. How do we figure this out? With a Calendly link, it was awesome. It was the button, it was done.
I will tell you though, this is me maybe dating myself or aging myself. I am just now beginning to embrace those types of links because in the past, and maybe this is me evolving as technology changes. In the past, it was always okay, send times and we will schedule something. But this is the way things are going. Is log into here, let's pick the time. So I am a first-hand case of being educated and starting to use these technologies. So, I'm a walking example for why companies use AI.
We're creatures of habit. It's hard. I get it. It's it's not
totally
easy. You know what else? Another thing. I was talking to someone recently. Another reason is if it's just a tool to try and get me a candidate or two, it's a cheap investment and it's not affecting me too much. But if it's employing something into my system, that's it's good. Anything big is scary in a way. A big thing in your life that is good is still unnerving.
Yeah.
In your life that is bad is certainly unnerving. And I think when it comes to something that actually affects your process, that's where it becomes that leap of faith because it's new to the market.
Yeah. That's also where if you can talk to other industry leaders, maybe within your segment or within your vertical, who have started to incorporate or bring in some type of AI into the process. Understand how did it go? How did it work for them? What were some of the hurdles they had to overcome? Was there a lot of change management internally? How does it help today? Say, tell me some success stories where I can take that back to my team and tell my team these success stories. Or if there's any, hesitation, hey, look, this is how it worked over here, and that might help to overcome some of the hesitation that makes.
That's a cool point actually you brought up because one of the things, listen, again, I'm relating it to sales because this is something that I know really well, is that it's very easy to talk tech talk and not this is actually what it's going to do for you.
Right.
One of the things that we found that was really helpful was we turned to some of our current clients and said, how has it helped you? What is this actually doing in your day? Just you guys hearing it from the horse's mouth, this is actually what it's doing to be able to replicate, that imagery back to other people. I think that's been really helpful for us.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, from a client testimonial, going back to sales, was, you're in sales, I'm in sales, I've been in sales basically throughout my career. But the best way to overcome any obstacle or hurdle is to have a reference or to have a client who is similar to the client you're trying to sell to say, hey, I've used this, it was successful, these were the issues, this is how we overcame them. To me, that's the easiest path to winning someone over on anything, is to show success.
Well, the truth is, I'm saying this with the exception of my boss, who might be right over there next to you at the booth. Nobody's looking up AI recruiting for fun.
No.
Nobody's going home on their weekend what are that's all about?
I want to read about that this weekend.
Exactly. You're looking at that because there's something that in your process. There's some kind of an issue. Again, whether you're overwhelmed with resumes or underwhelmed with resumes, I don't know. I think it's a really important thing that people wouldn't be looking into. Companies would be doing this, if there wasn't something. And if it wasn't
I couldn't agree more. And I think coming to conferences like this, I think I mentioned that we have a session tomorrow, which is about AI and how it's disrupting kind of the recruiting industry. So sitting in sessions like that and hearing firsthand, I think that makes people start to think about, would AI work for me and how would it work for me? So it starts to ask the question.
And actually, you know what? Even just as a shout out, so is that the one that your CRO is leading?
Yeah, that's tomorrow, and it's going to be how AI is disrupting the recruiting industry.
All right. So if people from SourceCon, if you're listening, go check that out.
Absolutely. 1 o'clock tomorrow.
1 o'clock tomorrow. All right. Well, it has been such an absolute pleasure, Ray, having you on the show today. Thank you so much for swinging by.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. Well, have a good time at the rest of SourceCon, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, buddy. Talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.